The God of Wolves. Moonlight Among Monsters Book 1. Written by Flynn. 1. You could say I lived in two worlds. One of them was normal, and the other one not so much. I thought I knew everything about both worlds. It turned out I knew nothing. I was what you would call a companion. No, not that kind of companion, at least not for my first few jobs. I was a friend to a bunch of lonely rich women, and they paid me really well for my services. I could make them laugh. Sometimes they laughed with me, and sometimes they laughed at me, but the pay was always the same. Damn good, and no complaints. Not a bad gig, right? Well, not exactly. You see, these rich women weren't the usual old folks. They were mid-30s, without husbands if they ever had any, and well, they were usually werewolves. Or vampires. And there was that witch that one time. She was bad enough that I wanted to replace the W with another letter earlier in the alphabet. That gig didn't last long. So yeah, I was a companion to a bunch of women who represented the cream of the crop in the paranormal world. I was the token human, if you will. A novelty in their weird world to be shown off and talked about. Did I mention the pay was good? Oh, and the rest of my time when I wasn't entertaining people with my presence? I hung around my apartment, reading or playing video games. Sometimes I went for walks. Then there'd be the call from my client and off we'd go to Bermuda, or Florida, or that one time I got a free trip to Germany where I ate too many sausage brats. There was always some faraway place to eat, drink and be merry. Not a bad life, huh? My current gig was with a woman of 30. At least that's what she looked like, but vampires were really good at hiding their age. She was probably closer to 300. All her husbands were dead, permanently that is, victims of their own mortality or a stake through the heart. Miss Layla Succo, one of her many aliases, had her quirks, and those were besides the usual vampire hours and blood-drinking habits. She abhorred classical music because it reminded her of a composer who jilted her 200 years before, and she had a weakness for scotch. It turns out alcohol still affects vampires, and her thin frame was very much affected. That was one of the reasons she had me around. I could drag her back to her coffin when she was too drunk to see the tips of her fangs. Another reason to have me was because she liked to hear herself talk, and was fond of others hearing it too. That made me the designated driver and resident psychiatrist to her
Sample complete. Ready to continue?